Welcome to the Waters of Droucia. Alrighty, let's get into everything. This wood. There we go. Get some audio. Spring has finally arrived to the village of Elderthorn within the Kingdom of Droucia. The Nestled along the Choral Run River, along the western edge of the Pin Wood, Elderthorn is a remarkably nice village with good natural protections against the elements and adversaries alike. Well needed these are too. Pirates roam the Stormstring Isles a few days' travel by ship from here, and raids by tribes native to the continent of Eaqone, while infrequent, are still extremely dangerous, and a present threat nonetheless. It is late afternoon. The day before, word came from the logging camp up the Troll Run that work would resume within the 10-day, and as such, all workers were expected to be returning within the next 5 days. This, of course, drew raucous celebration at the Faded Gate Inn and Tavern, where loggers, about to return now that the winter has ended, spent the last remains of their silver before they spend the next 6 to 7 months upriver for the logging season. By luck, a host of miners who work for the Opulent Depths Mining Company have just returned along their 2-day travel from the mountain work camp to the west. Extremely well paid, they rarely have qualms about spending money in the tavern on good drink, company, and entertainment. You all, as individuals and members of the community, have woken up a little bit late in the day, expectantly after a evening of celebration. The market march, where farmers and hunters normally sell their wares, is almost empty after the fun of the night before. The morning was a teary-eyed one, as people bid farewell and good luck to the loggers and loved ones that call the camp their home for half of the year. It is now just barely afternoon in the warming weather. The chill of winter still comes on the occasional breeze, but spring looks to be a good one. Everywhere in town you can hear the rush of the Troll Run, a sound unique to this time of year, as it's swollen with the beginnings of the melt waters. There's a smell of growth and liveliness coming from the Pin Wood to the east, despite its ominous appearance and presence in many local superstitions. And you know that in the coming days, the town will begin to take on the smell of fresh earth, as all of the farmers use this as their marking to begin the tilling of their fields for spring plant. Helderast, your adoptive mother left to return with the loggers this morning. What do you find yourself doing this afternoon?
That's you, Kim.
Helderast?
Shit, I'm tired of saying all this and I'm on mute. Which is good because making an ass of myself. Just Hillarast is just trying to wake up. She enjoyed herself really, really well last night. Trying to catch a patch of sun to warm up. Sharpening her daggers and thinking about her day.
Okay. Sharpening the daggers, that would be taking you to the smithy, or would it be a stone that you carry with you?
Just a stone that I
Okay.
carry with me. Just lazily honing
The
just to look like I'm doing something good.
okay. Sitting in front of the Faded Gate Inn, would you have
Yes.
spent the night there?
Yes.
Working on your daggers. What does a Hellerast look like?
Rast is a still young but not teenage half orc. She's wearing just passable gear. She spends most of her time in the woods, on the edges of the pinwood, patrolling. She took her service of 2 years very seriously, but did not take the avowed vow, even though she was offered it, because she needed to just keep moving.
That's with the Blackburn watch.
Yes, with the Blackburn watch. And she just takes her. She has an agenda in her heart that she really doesn't speak about to most people, but she does keep moving, patrolling at the edges and the just about where everything here goes to the wild, and she wants to make sure everything is safe.
I like it. Dunnan, you are awoken by the sound of grinding metal on steel. It's late in the day for you at this point, but there was a lot of festivities the night before. As you get up in the Faded Gate Inn, what's your first thoughts?
I'm in bed. Well, he would have like a head from too much drinking, so he's like, no. Oh, if this continues, I'm gonna grow fat from drinking. He's holding his head, looking around. Shit, where's my stuff? Gets up and gathers his things and joins Booker down and says, "Oi, Booker, what's for breakfast? I need something in my stomach."
Give me a perception check.
Okay. Perception. First roll of the campaign. Smashed it.
Takes you about 5 minutes searching around. Looks like you might have kicked your pack in the night, and a lot of your gear was spread over the floor of your small room. But you do manage to collect all of your items and set them back in, if haphazardly.
Yeah, it's not his best appearance, but it will manage, and sits at the counter and eats his breakfast.
Okay.
The big head, holding his head with one hand.
When you get down to the main common room of the Faded Gate, the familiar woman that tends and owns and tends the location, Buka. Let me share it out to all of you. Comes by and lets you know, "Don't you look like the worse for wear?"
Top of the morning to you too. What a charming way to greet someone who's just having a rough time.
If you weren't having a rough time, I'm not doing my job the night before.
Yeah.
Food?
Yeah. Much obliged.
She goes and prepares your food.
And some ale.
I mark off 1 silver for your morning breakfast.
Yeah.
As you're imbibing your morning sustenance, and Helrast, you're working on sharpening your daggers, keeping a keen edge on them. Aeolus, where do you find yourself this afternoon?
I would be on the edge of the pinwood on my own set route to observe the edges of Elderthorn, fully armored, great spear in hand,
Um,
and every moment that I come across a flower or something that I think I can harvest, I would take the time to look around and then begin to pluck the fauna.
give me a nature check, please. Well, as you are just wandering about the village, once the sun passes that noon position, you can hear the village starting to wake up. They were quite noisy last night. Um, maybe disturbing you to some degree, but you're several minds today, and it's hard to focus on really just taking your normal walk along the outskirts of the village. Not getting into the trees themselves, but just keeping an eye on anything, see if anything's interesting now that the snow has mostly entirely melted. Very few even patches remain, and you're looking for any new growths of any type of plants. None that stick out to your seasoned eye, though. Um, as you're walking along the pinwood, you see a familiar face. Looks up and sees you. Would you like to describe what this individual sees when they gaze upon you?
Aeolus is looks mostly human, with the exception of his eyes have flecks of yellow and green, and his hair is rustling, even though the wind isn't that strong. It's in a constant state of movement. He has lighter furs underneath his breastplate, standing at about 6'3", 6'4", in his 30s, and a hardened look on his face as his failed uh, checks for plants. He just comments, "Well, the crybaby's not going to be happy."
It's still early in the season. There's ample time to see if anything new grows. Gazing out from your own perspective, Aeolus, you see an individual with whom you've interacted some in the past. Chakakoth, would you like to describe what he sees upon you?
Yeah. He sees a tall, slender young man with yellow skin, dark hair, and what may seem like elven ears, but they have strange ridges in addition to being pointed. And his nose is very flat, almost skull-like it's been cut off, but there's no scar or damage or any indication of that. He's dressed very simply, nondescript, blending in well with any common folk, but here his simple grays and browns do a decent job of blending into the general environment here. He doesn't look either destitute nor ostentatious. Doesn't have a lot of rings or jewelry, but nor is he wearing rags.
Mm-hmm.
He's got black eyes that shine with kind of an amused glimmer, and his lips kind of curl into a little grin, revealing sharp, pointed teeth as he catches Aeolus this early in the morning on his way to Elderthorn. He'll call out, "You're on patrol again, so early."
Always.
"Surely you must find sleep sometime."
The other one sleeps enough for the both of us.
Well, just be cautious. That owlbear nest is still about. The one I told you about, you remember.
Slight look of confusion brushes across his face, and he goes, "Yes. Yeah, the owlbear nest."
Be safe. The pinwood is dangerous. He's going to head on to town. Funny enough, trying to get to meet was it Buka? Buka?
Buka. At
Buka.
the Beta Gate.
Yeah, whom he's been trying to persuade to give him a job helping out in the kitchen. And it's near the edge of town that he ties back his hair, kind of putting on a simple like do-rag type thing to keep it out of his face, and he enters the area next to where Dunan is eating and strides up to the
on your way through town.
Mhm.
Before you make it to the far side of town where the Faded Gate is located, it's pretty empty for how Elderthorn normally is. Yeah, most people might still be in their beds, or at the very least in their homes. Although one individual is currently about. You find them in the main square in front of the All Faiths Temple. Temple of the Faithful, pardon me. William, what does he find you doing in Cathedral Square?
Willem is hurrying towards the tavern. They are normally there as soon as it opens, if not outside waiting when they first unlock the door. So he seems anxious. He has all of his gear, everything from being part of the watch, as well as what looks like more than likely his Sunday best. Dark clothes, patched here and there, but of good quality. And as stated, he is very anxious and he is hurrying towards the tavern.
And, Jekakath, you see this individual hurrying past you, crosses the bridge over the Choral Run. The sound of that rushing water is still a present sound. They make it into the tavern prior to you, and then you follow in after, not more than a minute at the most. Curious at the rushing, but the two of you see a dwarf seated at the main area of the common room, just finishing up his meal. Dunnan, what do they see when they gaze upon you?
Well, they see a very muscular and bulky dwarf, stern face, amber brown eyes, and his most notable feature is like his fiery red hair and his very braided beard, which he seems to keep very well. Nicht jetzt noch, very well trimmed and takes good care of it. And heavy muscles, notably no scars on his hands, and just sits there a little slumped, but straight posture as much as he can, eating his breakfast with a ale, and he sees them come in.
As
Sorry,
go ahead.
Sorry. Top of the morning to ya.
As
Good morning.
you're finishing up, Puka comes around, collects your plate. Another ale.
Better not. I had too much last night. Once enough for the morning. Maybe later.
You know
What brings you
where I
here,
am.
Chuck?
Jack will speak up and call, Puka, come, let me assist. You know I've been looking to get a job here. Give me a chance.
That job's taken. By
Yeah.
me.
And he doesn't really be needed most of the time anyway.
You see? That's how good of a job I do.
No. If you're looking for work, go check the message boards. I know the Watch was looking for some assistance.
Ha! Blackburn Watch? Bunch of greenhorns.
Well, go prove it to them then.
While this discussion's going on, Willem would have found a seat that would have given him a view of the full room and sat down his gear along with him and would be sitting anxiously at the edge of his chair. Good Lady Buka, when you have a moment.
Yes, she calls across the tavern.
Yes, the day is as lovely as you, but have you word of anything besides the watch? Is there anything new?
I know not. I've been busy all day yesterday since word came in, and all day this morning, tending to you hungover idiots.
You see, if I was helping, you wouldn't be so busy. See, it makes sense to hire me.
But then I would have to pay you.
Well, I was busy drinking all the ale last night, so you earned money. What's the problem?
Check the message boards on the side of the keep.
And he jumps off, straightening his belt. This way.
And here I thought everyone came to taverns for news, not to be redirected to a port.
Go on, Chuck.
Yes, my beauty, Buka. You said you were busy and there was news from yesterday. Please, tell me more. I was busy at my Da's farm last night.
I have no news for you. The biggest news I've had in the last 24 hours is that the logging camp was reopening. And then after that, it was, I need this drink, I want that drink. I need this food, I want that food. Along with that noise some of you call music.
Yes, of course. I'll double check the board.
You can leave your stuff here if you want. I'm not busy
He
yet.
would quietly put down a silver as well as an extra copper for breakfast. This being his daily routine.
Plate will be here when you get back.
Hellerast has stretched her legs out, kind of so that he's going to have to step over them to get out, just for fun. Because she's been listening to this entire conversation and laughing to herself. Thinking what a bunch of
So-
losers.
Who's headed out to Blackburn Keep to check the jobs?
Done certainly is. I guess.
Jack is as well. He pulls
Bad
off
luck.
his do-rag with kind of a, drat. Something
Yeah.
I could get it that time.
And Willem, are you joining them as well?
Willem would have hurried out the door as soon as the board was mentioned
Okay.
and the money was laid down.
Hey, pardon me, lady. Your leg's in the way.
Willem, give me a perception check. You can change your sheet off Whisper.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was on it.
You
I apologize.
you see your legs as you rush, almost tripping over them, but you manage to notice them in time and slow your momentum before you take a sort of a big step over them, ostentatiously.
Pardon me.
Yes, of course. And then would have hurried out the door.
Jack, you were saying something?
No, just the same effect. Sorry, I didn't know that you were doing like a thing.
Oh, no worries. The three of you head. Hellerest, are you seeing this entourage leave? And are you just continuing to work on your daggers? Are you curious
No.
about all of them are rushing off?
She-
Because you know where they're going.
She's gonna see who goes and just kind of saunter on after them,
Okay.
just to see what's going on.
As the four of you make your way to the main center of town upon Cathedral Square and take a look at the sheltered awning that's been set up against the stone walls of Blackburn Keep, and is supported by two columns at either end of the downward slope of the awning that sit upon the flagstones of Cathedral Square. There's a board that's been set into the wall. Dozens of vertical bands of wood overlaid to create this message board where people can post jobs. It's about 6 feet to 7 feet long and about 4 feet in height. And it goes from about 2 feet off the ground to about 6 feet off the ground, such that members of multiple races of varying heights can easily see which things are listed upon it. There's two that appear a little bit older as far as the parchments that have been tacked onto this board with a few very simple nails, and then one that appears a little bit in better shape. Currently there's 3 pieces on the board though. First one's, the most recent one, is labeled Good Pay. Opulent Depths Mining Company needs skilled hunters to travel to the mine's work camp and patrol the foothills around for a few days. 2 members of our team seem to have gotten lost in the surrounding wilderness, and we suspect they might need assistance. With wild animals spotted recently in the foothills, we need some able-bodied help in locating them before something bigger and hungrier does. Pays 50 silver crowns, non-negotiable. See Opulent Depths Mining Company for acceptance and payment. The next one says, Wanted, experienced or aspiring men and women of action. Do you think you have what it takes to challenge the elite of Blackburn Watch? Well, no. But how about lending a hand in supporting our community and helping us train up the new batch of recruits? We are only as safe as we can make each other. Preference given to individuals with alternative styles of combat. We must always be prepared for that which we do not expect. Healing and restoration services provided. Pays in the goodwill and appreciation from your fellow community members. Also 60 silver crowns. And then finally, in a hand scrawl, very choppy, it's written, I need to have a collection of medicinal herbs and poultices. I have a collection of medicinal herbs and poultices that need to be delivered to a dear friend out of town. As I cannot be away from my store for such a period, I would greatly appreciate a few charitable souls be able to make the journey and delivery for me. Pays 100 silver crowns. Please inquire with Gogron at Gogron's General Goods for more details. Willing to trade in place of pay.
Hellerast is going to wander over to Gogron's and ask him a little bit more about what is going on there. She will greet him with, "Good morning. How is Gogron doing today?"
So you leave Cathedral Square, head over to your cousin's general store. As you cross the bridge, it is right across from the Faded Gate Inn, conveniently located for people who need supplies. They need not but step out the main door. The store that is Gogron's is, some would describe it as ramshackle, but does not look to be in danger of any type of falling down. It is not square. It is built out of planks of wood and heavy posts, but wasn't squared off on the foundation, and the building itself has been built up upon that faulty design, although it's become a little bit of a local landmark. The painted on letters, bright as day. It looks like he's updated them recently, a little bit maybe before the spring has arrived in anticipation of the new season. In beautiful red and looks like a little bit of gold paint. So you notice that, he must have gotten something new. As you pop your head inside, you see the remarkably well-dressed orc. Grab Gogron's handout for you. Working behind the counter. His sleeves are rolled up past the elbow, and his forearms are bulging with muscle. The tunic that he wears looks like to me made out of a soft linen, but it is quite tight across his torso, as his trousers are held up by a pair of suspenders, and he's currently working on securing a few lids onto jars or something. But as you enter the area, his ears twitch for a moment at the sound of the door opening and closing. He looks up. "Cousin, how are you?"
I am fine. It's a little late in the day. I'm just waking up. How is
It
Gogron
is more
today?
than late, but business is fine. And to what do I owe the pleasure?
You posted a Gogron. Sorry, can't get used to your thing. Gogron has posted a notice requiring transport of some herbs to
Yes,
a of town. About that, Gogron.
Willem, who would have tagged along, would have been like, "Yes, and it is out of town. I am most interested as well. My Da would be so proud."
I did not see you come in. My sincerest apologies.
It is okay. The shadows seem to cling on me for some reason. Or at least so my parents said.
Take care they don't cling to you too much. Bad omens, that be.
I think mostly they just indicated that I was always hiding. But regardless. Is the pay 100 per person? Or 100 per group? I'm interested.
100 total, for if multiple wish to. Although it's not... Looks at you. I'd rather you didn't, if others are willing. It's not exactly a safe endeavor. I need... he pulls up from behind the counter and sets onto it. A large, hemispherical contraption of wood. Looks like a chest that's sort of been converted into a backpack, almost like a turtle shell. With some heavy padlocks on it. I need this delivered deep into the pinwood. It is precious and needs to not be opened, but I'd rather you not be the one going into those accursed trees, cousin.
Really?
Bad luck.
You know I spend most of my time there, right? And that I know every path, secret path, places where there are no paths. I know them all, Gogran.
You do not know that deep, but taking trysts of day travel is one thing, but
there are things about me you know not, Gogran. Dear cousin.
fine.
Never see it.
Give me a persuasion check with advantage.
Persuasion check.
Fine, be that it, but please take more than... Sort of looks at Willem, looks up and down, and then gestures just at all of you. Then this with you.
There are others looking at your notice. And I'm gonna guess they're gonna travel along here and see what's up. They're bored and looking for something to do. Let's see how they turn up and what they say.
It's late in the day now. Best time would be to set out on the morn. Before light.
Of course.
It's gonna bring us back to Jackacuth and Dunnan, still in Cathedral Square, as the two of you are looking at the jobs.
Yeah, Dunnan is a little of a slow reader, but would turn to Jack.
Are you having trouble reading? Is it too high up for you?
No. Just... You think we can maybe combine those two?
You see, this is your problem. There are actually three, so clearly you cannot see one of them.
Forget those greenhorns at Blackburn Watch. Not gonna go into their service. I mean, the mining company and the general goods.
Oh, you have a preference for the mining company. That I understand, but you are interested in delivering something to a friend in the deep woods.
It's not labeled on the job where the job is located.
Okay.
No, I mean, you have to think smart. We can deliver their goods and then go on to the mining company and find those lost souls.
What if they are in opposite directions?
Well, that's where we have to find out. But we could hit two flies with one stone.
I wonder, For the training, how long they expect is the assistance?
A week is too
Surely-
much.
Give me a history
Or
check.
did-
Check a
Did it say a week? Maybe I missed that. Whoops. Sorry, I didn't mean to have it. It was a 12.
12. Wow, there we go. Took a moment to come through on my side. You think back to your own time in Blackburn Watch. And you recall that sometimes, anytime new travelers came through town, sometimes, because it was gossip at the very least, those travelers would be employed to have a set of mock combat against new recruits, yourself included at one point, just specifically to give you that feeling of being in present danger, even though you knew that healing was provided to you afterwards and you were not at risk of death. This still presence of sharp steel being jabbed at you is a unique feeling, and the watch wanted to make sure that new recruits had that feeling before the first time Elderthorn got raided, or was attempted to be raided. So you recognize this type of job. It's them trying to hire some people to train recruits for a day by fighting the recruits.
Just a day.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, surely, as a dwarf, you can appreciate that a strong community is essential to the functioning of society.
Yes, but I'm looking for a challenge here, not to train some newbies.
Well, if you're looking for a challenge, then I completely understand, and I can appreciate that point of view.
See, we have one of a mind. So, now what you say? Let's visit Gogron?
Worth a shot. How about this? A little deal. If we do this together, then we combine efforts and do a little training. It's just a day.
What goes it if I smash some brains in of some newbies?
Well, then they know what to expect and how to avoid getting their brains smashed in.
Well, you got a point. Might be some fun.
Just think of all the poor little recruits who you can toss around like so many rag dolls.
I just see them shit their pants.
Right, that's the spirit. Think of the fun.
Alright, alright. You
What
got
was your
me.
name?
It was Dun and Firebeard.
Dun and Firebeard. Ooh. I am Jackakath, but you may call me Jack.
Nice to meet you, Jack. He gives you like a your hand, Richard, but he doesn't touch your hand. He's like on your forearm, you know.
Jackakath does not seem to follow the gesture, so he reaches out and tries to take your hand.
An awkward
Seeming
sort
not
of
familiar.
holding each other's wrists, half like where your pinkies are sort of touching each other's thumb. Very strange gesture.
We're gonna work on that.
We will work on that, yes.
No,
Well, let's
but-
be off then.
Yeah. Which way is Gogruf again?
That would be this way.
Ah.
Newtown?
Well, I gotta get confused with directions, you know?
Oh, well, there's this thing in the sky called the sun, and it rises on one side all the time. So that's a good way to start.
Do you?
And then looks around and like wants to see the sun. Oh, so this way then?
This way.
I'll
And
follow.
Jack Kath, who's been
Jack-
here a while, I would presume
yeah.
knows the way.
Yeah, you're familiar with the location. As you correct Dunnan's direction, because Dunnan thought east was one way because the sun is past its zenith, and now is starting to go on its descent. And Dunnan slept in late, still feeling very morningy. You make your way towards Gogrons, across the Chorol Run. As you cross the river, on the far side, currently seated outside of the Fada Gate Inn, you once again see Aeolus. And coming out of Gogrons is Hellerast and Willem.
Jack will raise a hand to Aeolus. You're back already. All must be safe in the Pinwood.
At the moment.
Well,
What are
then
you
it
up
is the
to?
perfect time to expand beyond, perhaps. Looking for work.
Work, you say? Did you head over to the board?
Of course I headed over to the board. Everyone knows about the board. We were just investigating a couple interesting opportunities. Oh, and I believe those two may have been interested as well. He says, looking to Hellerast and Willem.
Yep.
Say,
They're at the
you
board
there,
and
did
they've
you
just
find
walked
anything?
out of Gogrons.
He's calling over to them. What have you found? Were you looking into the board job?
Yes, we found work outside of town.
How
It's
far outside?
Oh,
We?
I failed to ask. But it is outside.
Hold on, no, one at a time, one at a time.
You applied for a job and don't know the directions? I ask Willem.
Of course I know the direction. I just failed to ask how far.
Great. Another greenhorn.
What
Let me
about
tell
you?
you, I was part of the watch. I am not a greenhorn.
As I said, greenhorns. All of them.
Pinwood. It's in the Pinwood. Deep,
Ooh.
dark,
Aeolus,
into
you
the.
hear that? Sorry.
Mm,
You still want to go? It's gonna be scary.
Ah, the
Aeolus.
scary the better.
Scary things in the Pinwood. This has got you excited, I'm sure.
yeah. Although, if the group of you are going to go into the Pinwood, this greenhorn might as well come with you just to make sure you're safe.
I can strap him to my back and keep him safe.
I am quite capable
I
of
would like to
walking
see that.
myself. Thank you.
Not much.
Just because I am not as tall as you does not mean that I am worth less than you.
Yeah, you can climb a tree if something comes running at you.
Maybe if
Or
we
you
have
can dig a hole. Or perhaps I'll dig one for you and leave you in it, dwarf.
Ooh.
I go close to him. Puffle up.
He's
What did you say? Want me to?
I said I
Want me
would.
to smash your brains in?
Do you want me to make a hole and drop you in it?
I give him a headbutt.
Give me an athletics check. Good. You managed to clear the height difference and smack him in the head. It hurts. No damage, but it hurts pretty bad, Willem.
You better think before you talk next time to me. Greenhorn.
Enough.
Willem would stumble back and then get angry and use mold earth to basically make a hole and drop him down in it.
Make a dexterity save, Dylan.
Save.
Save, dex save. Alright.
All came one after another. Sorry about that. It was delayed on my side.
Oh, good. 13. There we go. Alright. You feel the ground churning underneath your feet. And you manage to step aside as a hole about dwarven size pops up underneath you. You know what you tried to do. As you're getting ready to riposte and come back with some other insult or something, you hear the voice off to your right as you approached. Willem would be your left. Elderthorn, are these the ones that you are going to have aid you? As Gogron's standing at his front door.
Well, 'cause they all wanna. They wanna do it. Don't know how long they've been, but yep, these are the ones that showed up.
Sort of rolls his eyes and takes massive fingers like sausages, thick as like a newborn's arm.
He started it, not
Sort
me.
of rubs his temples.
Don't mind us, just alternate Blackburn watch training.
Very
Willem would be rubbing his nose and saying, "Yes, we were just practicing."
Group of you, come along, enter.
Elderthorn pulls Gogron aside and whispers to him in Orcish, "I'll pay you to keep the little shit out of here. Tie him up, do something. I'll pay you now. I won't even take any fees. Just don't let him go."
Sort of replies in Orcish, describes Willem. That one.
Mm-hmm. The twink?
As much as that would be entertaining. Better to have someone that's a little bit slower than you, should you run into something dangerous in there.
Mm-hmm. You're true. So true. So true.
Switches back to Colin. Come in. Let me explain what needs to happen.
Before we get in, remember that lesson for next time. If you're gonna insult me.
Yes, I will be quicker on making the dwarf-sized hole, and watch my nose.
Huh.
You see, Dunnan, you take to training already, like a fish to water.
Yeah, you see? And that's gonna be the same in Blackburn. Bunch of greenhorns.
That's why they need you to train them.
But it was fun, right?
Certainly fun to watch.
Let's see what's this.
Push inside
What's here?
to the crowded store that is Gogron's. There's many bays of like wide tables with lipped edges upon which shelving tiers are set up. Very department store like, where as they just like display T-shirts almost, but like just tiers of items and gear and various things from the rafters, off kilter as they might be. There's hung tools on spikes. There's ropes dangling along one wall. Sets of climbing gear and barrel of pitons in one corner. There's a collection of about 4 very nice axes. Looks like wood cutting axes along one side. Sort of set onto the wall by spikes, but there is notably 3 sets of spikes near them that are missing. It looks like recent purchases that he's not yet replenished his stock from Amber Braid. As the group of you crowd into this area, he waves you through to a back area that you've not been previously. And you find a small, almost like a dining room. He moves a plate off of a table, looks like might have been one of his meals, and then sets this large tortoise shell machination of wood and metal upon the table. This is the supplies I need to have delivered into the Pinwood. I'll give you the location in a moment. Specifically, these need to not be opened except by the recipient party. And I am expecting a delivery back of a collection of flowers that they gather for me. They'll open this, take out their goods, replace it with my goods, and lock it again. Only they and I have the key. Is this understood?
Aye.
Okay.
They still.
Now,
How many days is this journey?
Into the Pinwood, with good luck, you should be about a day's travel in, and another day's travel out.
With good luck, of course.
Aye. As I said, he switches to Orcish. Better to have someone slow with you. Sort of cracks a smirk. Switches back to common. Sorry. Prayer. Now, the Pinwood itself is known to be treacherous. The Kami there like to play sick jokes on those who disturb their boughs. I'll provide each of you 2 days worth of rations and 10 silver worth of supplies for the journey, above and beyond the promised payment.
Sounds like a most excellent deal. You were quite generous, my friend.
Now this is
It's very
heavy.
Very generous. Since it is so important, you should let us know. Is it fragile?
There are some fragile things contained in here, but they are appropriately packed. Don't set it on fire.
If it's heavy, better give it to the dwarf with the big muscles.
Yes, we can get a little saddle to sit on your head and then just secure it down.
A saddle on my head?
Come here, let's see how it fits on you. Sort of picks it up with a heft. You can see his muscles straining to sort of get it oriented correctly, especially as he's holding it out. Put it on like a backpack, and then he fastens part of a buckle around your waist to help balance the weight of it. Nonetheless, done. This is heavy. You are not able to carry any other pack while you carry this.
Okay. How much are we
Don't
talking?
worry.
How many pounds?
This is maybe close to 80 to 90 pounds.
Jeez, okay.
Yeah. This is hefty.
I'm gonna add Gogrun's pack or package to my...
Yeah.
Hey, done it. I'll carry yours.
He wasn't joking. Well, I can manage.
Now, the wildflower that blooms there is not known for a long shelf life. Once you get it, please make all due haste to have that supplier returned here. Let me go get some rations for the group of you. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ellerast is going to pull him aside real quick and whisper to him in Orcish to get her an extra 8 rations, and she'll pay him. She knows this is going to take longer than 2 days.
Sure. So another extra 8 days worth of rations?
8 days worth of rations.
Okay. Sort of nods and acknowledges it. Mark off 4 silver. He comes back with supplies of effectively 2 days worth of rations for the 5 of you, and then an additional 8 days on top of that for you, Hellerast. You can add those to your inventory, each of you. They are in the form of very dense honey cakes and salted pork, which does need to be cooked above the fire. So Hellerast, you have 10 days, and the rest of you have 2 days.
And how much do they weigh?
They weigh half a pound each, so 0.5.
Okay.
This is local honey. To make the cakes.
Yes, my own.
Oh, those are always the best.
They will spoil faster than the rest, but I hope you enjoy.
I'm sure I will. Is that part of the desire for those wildflowers?
Sort of doesn't meet your gaze for a moment. Perhaps. Needless to say, I need them as soon as you get them. As soon as possible.
Of course.
He reaches behind him and sort of tugs out from underneath some things that are sitting on a side table. A large scrap, looks like of leather, and unrolls it, and you can see etched into the ground that's into the leather of this piece itself is a map of the surrounding area. And he gestures to the pinwood. Follow the coast. The pinwood as best you can. Make sure you can still smell salt air. If you can't, turn south. For about 7 hours of good travel. You have 2 major waypoints as landmarks along the way. He points to a spot on the map. About mid-journey, there is a large, semi-flat boulder. Sort of looks like the fingers of a closed fist punching up out of the ground. Few cracks in the flat surface. It's a good, clear place to take a luncheon and a small reprieve, should you need it. Also a safe spot to set a fire. Beyond that, there's a clearing of tall cedar trees, surrounded on all sides, giving shade to the otherwise open ground. The ground there is covered in a deep purple moss, known as black moss. Once you reach that, turn due east from the clearing, and you'll find the client. It mulls over that word for a moment. You'll find the client there, about 500 yards beyond the clearing. The whole journey should be about 10 leagues, maybe 9. I would recommend leaving before daybreak tomorrow. Give you as much daylight hours in Pinwood as possible.
Shall we try to make it back to the Fist Rock before dusk?
Before... If possible, after delivering,
Yes.
I would recommend, if you do need to weather and stay a night without moving, that'd be the safest. There's ample firewood, albeit it smells like a rotting corpse in the surrounding area, but it is safer to be upon the rock than upon the forest floor.
You guys got that? Anybody taking notes?
I've got it.
Go there, get some flowers, come back. Sounds easy enough.
Yes. And we leave on the morrow, correct?
Before first light.
Where would you like to meet? Perhaps the inn?
Probably
You
off.
live nicely.
Would I know that they were conspiring to leave me behind? Those jerks.
Give me an insight check. And do you speak Orcish?
No, it's not one of the languages I speak. I have a ton of them, but not that.
You get that sort of feeling of like, are they talking about me? They're not talking about me, right? That sort of high school feeling of you're not sure if someone's discussing you or talking about you or making a joke at your expense, but the likelihood of that happening is far afield. It's very unlikely that they were talking specifically about you.
That is fair.
What's your name? Willem?
Yes,
Willem,
it is.
come down. Come here. Come out here with me to the street.
Yes, but what can I do?
Stand right here next to me. Okay, get ready. See that tree down there about 50 yards? I'm going to race you to it.
There's no trees within the city of Elderthorn, but there's the bridge of about 50 yards away.
Okay, whatever's 50 yards away.
The bridge.
Bridge, okay. I'm going to race you to the bridge because I know you got to be fast in this place. Let's see how fast you can go. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
And he totally would have taken off, I'm sure, being left. But I'm sure he's the only one running.
Oh, no. Helly Rast is running next to him. She wants to see how fast he is.
Both going. But you give me athletics checks. You charge forward. Ooh. As you get to the bridge, Helaras, you're so focused, you lose sight of him for a moment. You know not to focus on him. You know to keep running. And he beats you to the bridge. Not by much, just barely. But he's a spry one.
She's gonna reach up and look up and wink or wave at Galgron and just point at him and say, "Slow one, huh? Yeah." Give him a thumbs up. That's sarcastic as hell.
I just see them,
Sorry.
and Danan claps. Great! They can run fast! Now we can know how to rely on when we are out in the woods.
This is part of another type of strange training for the green ones.
She's gonna pat Willem on
Obviously.
the shoulder and tell him, "Kid, you're gonna be okay. Stick with me." She's starting to like Willem just a little bit.
So long as you don't strap me to your back.
I don't think that'll be necessary.
Seems like the pup has found his mummy.
And he looks really offended because he was about to say he was going to go home and talk to his mother and get apple pie for everybody because his family would be so excited that he was going on an adventure.
Helaras will see the look on his face and say, duck down him and say, "You look disappointed. What's going on? Is he
My
bothering
mother,
you? Is the big dwarf bothering you? I can handle the big dwarf. What were you thinking?"
no, my mother was
Big
going to
dwarf.
give me apple pie for everybody. And now he's just going to make fun of me.
Guess what? Everybody gets apple pie, but Dunan. Go get the apple pie, kid.
Apple pie.
Go get the apple pie. We'll see if
Yes,
Dunan gets
if I wanted apple pie. Give me some ale and some sausages. But some sweet apple pie.
When you get back, you can have all of the sausage pie you want.
I am
No,
assuming
that's what I'm talking about.
I'm assuming that there is a river that goes through town, if I can
There-
picture
there-
this correct.
There's the Troll Run River.
Alright.
Let me give you guys
So-
the town map.
There. So when we do part ways, he would spend some time using shape water to catch some fish and take them home, smoke them. Probably get some rations for his family, and some apple pie for everybody, even the dwarf.
Okay. So you can spend the latter half of your day doing as such. Yeah, they will listen.
Before Willem departs, Aelus is gonna walk over and put his hand on Willem's shoulder. Walk with me for a moment. As he briskly leads him away from everyone else.
Are we going to race as well? Is this our thing?
How long have you been with the Blackburn?
Well, I put in my time and I have left them. My family has a tradition that we leave town and go and explore other areas to look for, well, our partners. And my family expects that, well, I should have left several years ago.
Just a friendly piece of advice. If you're going to travel with someone, you shouldn't put them in holes.
Yeah, you're probably right. I just got so upset when he hit my nose. How am I supposed to find a partner with this swollen Snout.
Often enough, you don't. Especially if you plan on taking odd jobs as such as wandering into the Pinwood. Go home, kid. We'll see you in the morning.
Yes, you like apple pie, right? My mother makes the best apple pie in town.
Alice just walks away. And
All right, see
return
everyone.
to Blackburn Keep.
See everyone in the morning. Willem, was it? I'm looking forward to that pie.
Aeolus, are you an active member of the Watch?
I am.
No.
I'm an avowed member.
Yep. You are easily able to enter Blackburn Keep then.
Back to Bukas. See you in the morning, everybody.
The day passes somewhat. Willem, I'd like you to roll me a survival check, please. Using your abilities, you head to the Firefly Plaza, on the eastern bank of the Chorrel Run, and are trying to snag a fish here and there. You manage to get one good fish, probably weighs close to 4 pounds, that you're able to sort of knock up and on shore. But you get this late in the day, so it comes at the feeling of, all right, cool, at least I accomplished something, and I can go home saying at least I did something.
Fair. And then I would have excitedly tell my family that I am going adventuring. And
you tell them
very
where?
supportive of this. Yeah.
You tell them there's an air of concern at your mention that you're traveling into the Pinwood.
Don't worry, Mother. I have new friends, and I've already told them about your apple pie. One of them likes them really spicy, though, so can you put some of Da's peppers into it when you cook it?
Aster sort of looks at you and look, oh, what I have is made, but you can take that. You're more than welcome to have one or two of his peppers and put them in. They're in the preserves jar, over there. She gestures to a spot in her small kitchen. But well, the Pinwood, really?
Well, yes.
You'll come out
I have to
cursed.
start somewhere.
It's not just somewhere.
Well,
Have you seen what they do to those rangers that travel through there? Or that order of hunters, that comes by, every few moons? If
Granda went there, and he came back normal. Most,
in normal to
mostly normal.
you didn't know him as well beforehand. Changes you being in that wood. Just be careful. And if things look dangerous, there's no shame in leaving all of the other people that you're traveling with behind and getting out yourself.
First, I will do my morning stretches. I already raced one of them and won.
Good job.
He says this completely trying to fool her because he would never do that, but you know.
Yeah. Sort of gives you an eyeful, but leaves it at that. gather she's going to have conversations with your father, Willem, later this evening once you're asleep. But the night passes for all of you in your own fashions. Before you know it, you're waking a few hours before dawn. About an hour and a half prior to dawn. And assembling in front of Gogron's shop to be given the supply pack. And a rough, he's sort of scratched out on a piece of parchment the description of the 2 landmarks. As he's bleary-eyed still. All right. Be careful with the package, Dunnan. It's not rocks.
You sure?
I know you might think that rocks are the most precious thing in the world, but it is not. This is
Not
healing
every dwarf
herbs,
loves rocks.
poultices, supplies, and that, like... Once you get past the black moss, like I said, due east and you can't miss it. Nary 1,000 feet. Good luck.
Alright, let's be off then. And he totally walks into the wrong direction.
Yep, you're headed towards the mining camp.
As we meet, Willem begins to pass out apple pie to everybody, including the special one for,
Done.
yes.
Okay. I'll give an cold, but delicious looking apple pie.
Oh, you brought some breakfast.
Yes, it'll help out quite a bit. We don't want to adventure on an empty stomach. I mean, we best eat it while it's fresh.
Danen pats you on the shoulder and you go slump for a little bit because he's very strong. Don't worry about yesterday, my friend. It's all water down the river. And he takes a bite into the pie. And
As he does so, he's edging away slightly.
A little.
How much spicy food has Dunnan eaten in his life?
Oh, he particularly loves spicy food, so you see him eat the whole pie with
This is
not much of emotion in his face.
It's like an apple pie laced with ghost pepper. It is different. A little hot even for you.
Your family seems to have a different recipe than my late grandman.
Yes, it's my mother's special recipe.
What is wrong?
Well, at least I'm awake now. Thanks for looking out, kid. Lad, we move. And he goes in the wrong direction again.
Jack's licking his fingers off after finishing the pie. I do not know what he's talking about. It's delicious, but I mean, it is apple pie.
You want a piece of mine?
Not since you scarfed it all down.
If I get food in my hands, I can't help myself.
I have a friend with that same problem.
The Pinwood is that way.
I've heard that.
I know that.
And Willem would have smacked Dunnan on the back and said, "You'll be able to enjoy that one twice, my friend."
I think I'm good for now. Thank you. What was your name again?
My name? Willem. Or the pie? It's apple.
Willem. Yes. No. Your name.
Willem.
Name's Stan and Firebeat. Nice to meet you, Willem.
Last ones. She's going to turn to Gogron and just roll her eyes. and mouth, "Pray for us," as they're walking.
Is it
He
obvious
switches.
to everyone?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you finished.
I was gonna say, Gogron switches to Orcish. What's you? Oh, ask the kami for good travel for you. Though little help it might be. Don't let him lead. And sort of nods towards Denon.
No, we'll protect him like he's the pack mule.
One more then, and he goes into the wrong direction again.
Thinking
Then
he'll lead
remember
him.
what I said about the sky? Look, see. That way is east. It's where the big hot ball is.
Not up
Ah.
No, never mind.
yet.
You're taking me for a fool. Where
But
is
will
the
be.
sun? I don't see it.
Dunnan, who's Aeolus? Can you
You got
point to
who?
Aeolus for me, please? Who's Aeolus in our group?
I don't know. Nobody ever introduced himself to me as a Olus.
Aeolus, can you wave?
I know my friend Jack, my friend Willem, and you. I don't know, and you. I don't know too.
Alice just slightly cocks his head.
Him. Follow him. Just follow him. That's Aeolus. Follow him. Got it?
Right. You lead on then. I'm right behind you.
Hit it off. What I was asking Spencer is, can anyone else tell about the spicy food? Because I don't think that anyone voiced
No.
what was happening there. No. Okay.
No one else knew what was going on. Not at the speed Dunnan scarfed it down.
Don't worry. He would share it a little bit later.
The
I think. Oh boy, I think that's gonna burn twice later.
You hear Willem from the side. That's what I meant. You'll enjoy it twice.
I'll get you back for that. You'll see.
as this conversation continues with banter, disturbing the quiet pre-morning in Elderthorn. The only sounds that you hear as you cross through is the trundle of some carts heading towards the market march. At this time of year, it'd be fur trappers and hunters setting up pelts or meat that they've caught and killed to be sold. A little bit early for any of the farmers to be there, but some business is happening. As a group of you pass by the Sea Dock Ward and proceed out of Elderthorn, we'll take our mid-session break here. getting back into it, the group of you have met up and have made your way to the Pinwood. Aeolus, your practice eye and nose notice this first and foremost. Along the edge of the Pinwood, there's a broken over tree. Wasn't there the day before. Not large, but not small either. Probably maybe stood about 30 feet. But it's been toppled over by maybe some stiff breeze in the night. You're not sure. It stands a little bit apart. Your nose picks it up first, and as you get closer, you can affirm. You see that the break in the trunk is coated in a thick, dark sap that's very slowly oozing from the tree. Looks like it usually oozes fairly quickly anytime there's a cut in any of these wood, and then it slows over time. So you gather it's been a little while. The texture of this sap is that of congealed whale blubber, and the immediate vicinity is reeking of earth and rot.
Aeolus,
Thun, was that you?
What? No.
Warn me next time. I had my mouth open.
What is this? This is unusual for wood, isn't it?
Aeolus, not paying attention to them, would take out any the appropriate parchments or cloth to gather some of the sap,
Okay.
and would try to see the direction of the prey to see if anything.
It fell down towards the field away from the Pinwood, so vaguely westward. Although you would know, and Helras, you would know this as well, being present in the town to the amount that you have been. This type of sap is quite common for the Pinwood. This is why it's not used as a natural resource. It is extremely corrosive to any type of metal that it touches, and will rapidly degrade it over any type of prolonged exposure. As such, any attempts to harvest the wood, little more than the things that the farmers whose land butts up against the edges of it have tried, is met with mostly fruitless and very expensive efforts, because tools don't last. And it's why the logging camp exists upriver, away from the Pinwood, where the sap is no longer present.
Okay. Does the Aeolus walks a little bit further to see if the smell gets stronger in a certain
No.
direction?
As you get away from the broken stump that's still sort of connected to the break itself, the smell dissipates quite rapidly. And the smell is coming from the sap.
Are there any tracks on the floor?
Give me a survival check. Done.
Oops. Sorry.
Pretty good rolls.
22.
22. As you were examining the ground, it's definitely been trampled down a little bit. You see, looks like 3 different sets of footprints. One a little bit wider than the others. That this is 3 that you do not count amongst your own company. One of them is a little bit wider than the others. And then one of them's a little bit. Another one of the 3 is a little bit shorter than the others. Beyond that, you're not sure though. But there's 3 sets of tracks.
Well, I'm not an expert, but there are 3 kind of tracks here as I look around. See? Here, one a little shorter, and this one a little bigger than the others.
What sort of prints did you say they were? Or do they look like footprints, or do they like animal prints?
Footprints.
As it points them out.
Humanoid. Boots. Most likely.
Interesting. I did not think that many people came out here.
Apart from you, Aeolus.
This is right along the edge. Give me an intelligence check, Jack.
Okay.
A few explanations jump to mind. And some worries. But there's a part of you that suspects the likely option, not guaranteed, but likely, would have been whosever land this is that comes up to this section of the Pinwood might have heard the break and came to investigate it sometime in the night.
Could
As
it
it's
be
now
some
encroaching into their fields. Where
Could it be
the tree
some-
fell.
tracks from hunters?
It could be, but if I were to guess, given that so many fear the Pinwood, probably someone looking after the noise of hearing this tree collapse.
Must be a big beast if it can fell down a whole tree. Any clue of which direction they went?
You're the one who spotted the tracks.
Yeah, but as I'm saying, I'm not an expert.
Give me a perception check.
Putanen.
Yeah. You see the tracks do lead back onto what looks to be one of the harder packed trails, same one that you had taken through the farmers' fields, back towards town.
It seems like they are be leading back to town. We might have missed them.
Then let's head off.
Just to be clear, the tracks approach from the field, then turn and go back through the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, there's a hard packed sort of raised area on the side of the field that is designed to be able to traverse and walk the perimeter of the field without stepping on plants. But they lead back to that section, and then they vanish on the hard packed earth.
Should we be concerned about that? And I point to the tree.
I don't think so.
Trees fall all the time.
By themselves? And what's that icky... what's that? And I point to the substance.
It's the sap from the tree. Have you not ventured out into the Pinwood?
I had no reason to.
Well,
While they're discussing this, would it be possible for Willem to try to fill a vial of the goop?
Sure. Are you letting it touch your fingers? Are you using something else to usher it into a vial?
I would probably use a stick to push it into the glass vial. I've got
Okay.
a number of them.
Okay. And you have a number of vials, you said?
Yeah, 5 of them.
Fantastic.
Who's counting?
Go ahead and adjust one of them down, and then add a vial of sap to your inventory.
It's the first time for me being out here. When I had no reason to be here.
But how long have you lived here, Donan?
Just, well, half a year, maybe? A little more?
Never heard anything about Pinwood?
Well,
Well,
no.
it's nice to be you.
Heard superstitions and tall tales, but maybe you've counted them as such.
Well, just the usual, you know. Old wives and Nan's talk.
well,
Old wives can be pretty smart sometimes.
I strongly suggest if you value any of your metals, that you do not let it touch the saps.
I would suggest that we take this as a caution and to know that possibly there are those who know what we are doing and would like to keep us from completing this. Don't forget, it's 100 silver for a one-day job. Doesn't that sound a little maybe like it might be a bit dangerous to you? Maybe? You
Of
think?
course.
Alarat,
These woods are cursed.
if you're
My ma tells me.
Take
She
it as-
reminded me just last night.
Let's be careful.
The first rays of daylight are starting to illuminate the sky as you stand here on the edge of the pinwood.
that's
But we're
good.
not going to deliver it standing here.
To exactly what he said to his ma. He starts off his
Agreed.
day by doing his stretches.
You should have stretched before. Let's go.
Let's move on.
As you all push into the pinwood, I'd like you all to arrange your tokens in a marching order. Who's ever on the left is in the back. Who's ever on the right is in the front.
I would be directly behind us.
With my friend. Kim, how do you say your character's name again?
Elrast is taking point in the back.
L.A. Rest. Did I say that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I would be probably in front of you then.
Okay. So marching order would then be Aeolus, Dunnan, Jack, Willem, and Hellerast bringing up the rear. Correct?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
With everybody
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm keeping a really close eye on Dunnan as well, making sure that everything that he is carrying is safe.
Noted. And who's carrying Dunnan's supplies? Because he is unable to while carrying that pack.
Well, Jack offered, but he was refusing earlier.
Oh, I didn't know they were too heavy, then I would hand them off to Jack. Yeah.
Okay. So Jack is carrying Dunnan's gear. And
Which looks a bit surprising because Jack is about 6.5 feet tall, but looks very, very thin. So
120
ability to
pounds
carry
soaking
two
wet.
packs, yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
surprising strength for his brand.
Live.
So I don't wear my armor or shield and
No,
X,
you
right?
can still wear that. But
Okay.
like your actual
Bedroll.
backpack, bedroll,
Okay.
rations, things of that sort, tools,
Okay, got
supplies.
it.
That the tortoise shell of this pack is basically takes up your entire back.
Okay.
Um,
Because he would never part with his X, shield, or
Yeah.
chainmail.
yeah, anything that would normally be stored on your back, you cannot carry at this point, because of the weight and the unwieldiness of this item.
Got it.
But as long as someone else in the group is able to assist you, you can still have those supplies. Aeolus, leading the group, I'd like you to give me a survival check, and I'd like perception checks from the rest of you, please. Good survival started out.
Jack is a bit distracted chatting with Willem.
So how often do you get yourself little vials of goop? That's a common thing you do.
Well, you know, it doesn't hurt. I do some research now and again. Some components that we find out here in the woods, well, they come in handy. Perhaps this one will burn something we need. One should always be prepared.
Aeolus, the journey into the woods, as the daylight starts to break and the boughs take a long while to become illuminated, but they do slowly. The occasional shaft of light making its way to the forest floor, though rarely. It's comfortable. It's actually remarkably cool in the woods. Almost to the point there's a small shiver, with the winter still trying to cling to the landscape itself. And as you get deeper and deeper into the woods, you do find more patches of still unmelted snow. It seems like the spring heat has not quite gotten all of it out yet. Are you doing anything to mark your progress as you go, or just following game trails?
He's just following the trails, making sure that he can still smell the salty air.
Okay. Keeping to the cotton trails, which are narrow, it doesn't look like very large game, at least exists in this part of the Pinwood. Travel in this manner for about 5 to 6 hours. The sun is high in the sky, and a few glances up towards the blue sky above that you do get. But most of the group's journey is marred by the smell of salt, pine, and the acidic soil of the Pinwood. This would be Willem and Dunnan. As you're proceeding, Dunnan, the pack's heavy, but you try to keep your mind focused on other things, and you find yourself letting your eyes wander, and you can't help shake the feeling that something's watching you. It's been a feeling with you most of the morning, since you got into the boughs. And every time you turn in a new direction, you get that sense that something just ducked behind a tree that you had just missed, maybe out of the periphery. Or maybe it's your mind playing tricks on you.
Is it just me, or are we being watched? I can't shake this feeling off. Something is watching us.
I felt the same. I was going to tell Heliras so they can check behind us, but if we are all aware, we just need to act naturally, and
It seems
hopefully
like
we will
there's
catch a view.
more to that old wife's tale than what one might believe.
I don't understand. You have an old wife?
No, you fool. I heard tales about this pine wood.
So you have an old husband, if not an old wife?
You want another headbutt?
Heliras.
Not in particular. That last one hurt.
As Aeolus takes one more turn down one of the game trails, you smell a pungent smell like rot. Not quite the same as the broken branches that you saw previously. The broken tree trunk, pardon me. On the outskirts of the Pinwood by the farmer's field. But this smell catches in your nose. You recognize it as a smell of rotting flesh.
What
smells-
direction is it coming from?
So you're not
Is
sure.
it coming from Dunnan? It smells terrible out there.
It's getting old.
You're not sure
Oh.
how to ask.
Willem
Ew.
laughs and pats him on the shoulder. Sorry. Last dig of the day.
Shh.
I will remember that. The grins at him.
Yes, the next
Alright.
round is of course on you. But it does smell like death out there.
Hush! Aeolus, do you smell that?
Now it's been pointed out. You do, Aeolus.
I'm gonna go see if I can find just what direction it's going from. I'm going to step a few feet away from the party.
Sure.
Be careful.
Of course. She'll head east. What direction is the wind coming from, Spencer?
There's no breeze at the moment.
There is no breeze. Okay. Even if there is no breeze, the breeze would most likely be coming from the ocean towards the woods, likely, even if it's just a very light breeze. So she's going to first head west a few feet and see if it gets a little stronger.
Okay. West. So west would be the direction that you came from. So back along the trail. North or south would be off trail.
South towards the ocean.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thinking about that, just
That
would
you don't need to
somewhat-
travel more than about a dozen paces. Then you find underneath so almost like half buried, and it looks like some earth or mud has slid over onto its form a little bit. But you find the carcass of a deer. It is it's in a state of decomposition. It is all of its innards have been torn open. Best guess is the interior of the carcass, as you look at it, is empty. Its neck and body are all torn up. You identify it immediately by the shape of its head and the color of its pelt, as much as you can see. Although even at this point, you see it, you know that even trying to salvage the pelt is virtually worthless with how much it's torn up.
Does it look more like carrion eaters have gotten to it, or is this something worse than normal?
It looks like something hunted this thing down.
Yeah, but more like an opportunistic feed.
No, this looks like something hunted this down and ate it.
Okay.
And then the rest of it was like the bits of flesh that's clung to the outside of it after its innards have been eaten has been left to rot. And that's what you're smelling.
So it's about a week, 10 days.
Give me a survival check. Good roll. You have two minds on this one. Could be maybe about a 10-day old at most. If this part of the Pinwood has been this warm that long. This is a little bit further than you tend to venture in, at least solo. But if this part of the pinwood was previously under a freeze, this could be quite a bit older, and it's started to rot now that the temperatures have gotten higher.
Okay.
So you're not quite sure.
But not a really recent kill, simply a warning.
No, not based on the state of decomposition. At the very least, it's been maybe 6 days since the temperatures have gotten high enough to allow it to start to rot of either situation.
So I'll explain that to the group, that it's not as potentially scary as it could be. Nothing to salvage. Keep your eyes out because there are things within a few days that could disembowel us just like it was disemboweled. Does anybody else want to take a look at the dead deer?
Interesting report.
Oh, there are some things that kill deer in the wood. That's not surprising, is it?
It's not surprising at all.
So what's the holdup then?
Just
think
keep your head on a
Oh,
swivel.
guys, chop chop.
After
Keep that nose sniffing.
Yes.
after about another hour of travel, you come to a large outcropping of white rock. It's about 30 to 40 feet wide and about 20 feet long, 20 to 25 feet long, with three distinctive cracks from one of the long edges that go about 2/3 of the way through it. Seems to fit the description Gogron had provided.
Then we have made it to our first marker. Everyone ready for a lunch?
Every time.
Yes, of course. I brought some smoked fish.
Oh, are you a cook?
Well, I am able to cook, but this one was made by my family. I caught a fish and gave it to them, and they gave me a pre-cooked one. Would you like to share?
Sure. I was thinking I would have to warm up that salted pork. But I'm welcoming of smoked fish.
Yeah, have some.
Another
enough for
spicy
everyone.
one. I can only eat spicy food once a day.
Another
No.
one?
Just
do
the
you mean?
pie was spicy. The
pie was
fish is
spicy? That was a good one.
Just a tad spicy.
Willem looks chagrined. Well, Dunnan's was spicy, but he said he liked, sausage and stuff, so I just assumed he liked alternative pie. It makes sense, right?
How spicy did you make it? What did you put in there? Let me
Well,
know.
my father grows these peppers, and then he soaks them in various other items and then cans them, and they get rather hot.
Well, it was like having a party in my mouth. So
And
a
tonight,
little bit unpleasant.
the hell shall be in your bowels, my friend.
Yeah, I have feared that day it comes out.
If you would like, I can use a spell to wash you down with some water. Once it leaves your system, you might feel refreshed.
Oh, I'll bet I have it natural way. Thank you very much, William.
It's about 2 to 3 in the afternoon at this point. You've been traveling the better part of the 8th hour. Had about 7 hours of sunlight. Of true sunlight. It's later than you had hoped. Not bad, but not great.
Helarast is going to suggest not to cook, not to take the time. Eat the fish, eat the honey cakes, and let's go.
I agree. We wasted too much time in the early hours.
All right then. Smoked fish and honey cakes. We'll be on our way.
You partake. How long do you spend here? Short rest, or are you just spending like a half hour eating and then on your way?
Just a half an hour from
Yeah.
pickup.
It's quick, yeah.
Noted. Okay.
But as Dunnan, how do you eat? Like, do you place things out before you, or do you just like grab a fistful of something and then just stuff it in your mouth?
Well, he's used to eating fast, so I don't think it would be like pleasant to watch. So he just gonna grab it and bite it off.
Okay, Jack is like watching very intently with like a
Something in my
hopeful
face?
look.
What are you looking at, Jack?
Oh, yes, he's got something in your beard there. And he reaches out and like brushes your beard with his fingertips.
Ah, thank you. Well, as pleasant as it is to see my beard, food always gets caught in it. It's
Jack
nothing I
wipes
can
his-
do about it.
He wipes his hand off on the back of his pants. I see. He leads over to Willem. If he leaves his food out, I'd like to see more of that spicy prank of yours. That was funny.
Whispers back. Yes, I brought the jar from my father. And he like pulls it out of his bag and shows it. Of course, Da will be upset. But
We'll see what they're plotting.
You see them discussing something about a jar that Willem has.
Wait. What are your two birds talking about?
oh, yes, of course. I was discussing some of the food that my family sent.
It's very
They-
generous of them.
Yes, of course. Once they finished their adventuring days, they continued work on the farm. I'm sure I have several vegetables that. Oh, I'm sure you don't like vegetables, though, do you?
Well, I prefer meat, but sometimes I eat some vegetables too.
Yes, well, I have several tricks that I can probably use to catch you fish, if not game. And he's totally trying to misdirect. So
Yeah,
probably
go-
a deception check if you
Go for it.
like.
Jack's like trying to assist with the misdirection by also kind of playing along. So if that makes a difference.
Sure.
Guess I'm rolling for insight then.
Yeah, roll insight, please.
Bam! Nice insight.
Something's
It's-
off about what he's talking about.
Squint
feel it-
my eyes.
You feel a tingling in your lower abdomen that
Oh.
tells you otherwise. Although maybe that tingling was just your breakfast.
It's just a heavy burp. Like, I have to tell you, that pie was something different.
Yes.
But this fish, I have to say, that's very good.
Yes,
Group
of
of
course.
you finish eating and set off again. Maintaining the same marching order or shifting around at all?
Alis will stay up front.
Sure.
Same order is good.
Okay. I'd like another survival check from you, Aeolus, then. to be leading the group. Pretty good. There you go. About 3 hours of travel pass Aeolus, following a game trail. At which point, you're continuing to plod for a moment before look around and you realize you're not on a game trail anymore. Look back, your companions are behind you with you, but there's no game trail here.
Something wrong?
Hillerass is wondering what's going on.
We've just wandered further into the Pinwood, and Aeolus unsheaths his short sword to cut down any plants as needed as they continue to walk.
Okay. Keeping the same heading, you're working through some of the lower shrubbery that grows despite the acidic soil of the Pinwood.
Can we still smell the sea?
You can, currently.
Was
Very-
this not expected?
Very good
We are
survival
going
rolls.
deep.
Yeah. I'd like as you proceed for about an hour in this manner, Dunnan and Aeolus, I need Constitution saving throws from both of you, please. Chopping and trailblazing through Aeolus is tiring, but it's not quite getting to you yet. And the pack is heavy, Dunnan, but you're managing fine. While they're sort of focused on pushing forward, Jack, something bright catches your eye. About 50 yards away. You just managed to catch it through the trees where you stopped for a moment while Aeolus was sort of resting their arm. You see a small, bright, fluorescent pink at the base of one of the trees, off at an angle from the trail.
Hold on there. What is that? He'll break out from the group to step over a few.
Sure.
Good to like get a clear view.
So you weave your way through. Some plants sort of sticking to your trousers and trying to tear at the fabric, although it's sturdy fabric, it doesn't tear itself. As you break through the underbrush, you smell a small clump of 3 mushrooms at the base of this tree. And the bright, almost fluorescent pink caps is what drew your eyes towards them. But try as you might to rack your brain, you can't ever recall seeing a species like this before.
Intrigued, he's going to do something he's been trying to practice recently. So it seems like good chance to kind of exercise this. He's going to put a couple fingers to his temple and is going to focus hard, reaching out, trying to engage his still fairly newly honed psionic abilities to pluck a mushroom from among the 3.
Okay. There's a soft sound where one mushroom stem breaks and just sort of floats up a little bit towards you. Has a very delicate smell.
He will pull his great spear off his back, and he'll have his psionics kind of pull it over so it can kind of impale itself on the tip of the spear so he can hold it at a distance.
Sure. The mushroom itself is only about 2 inches in height, and the cap is only about 1 inch in diameter. They're not very large mushrooms. extremely bright pink. All parts of it. The throat and gills of the mushroom are sort of a dark, rich pink, and the cap itself is closer to a bright fluorescence.
Is he able to like kind of stick it at the end of the spear?
Yeah, easily. Very gently.
Yes.
Too much would destroy it, but easily enough.
He'll trudge back to join the group and will hold the mushroom at spear length out in Willem's face.
Look at what I found. Another interesting specimen.
Taking a glance, none of you are familiar with this mushroom.
Found a mushroom.
Were there any more?
It's a glowing mushroom, and there were 2 more.
Ever seen something like that?
Not myself.
I'm asking Aulus and Helibreast. They seem to be venturing into the pine woods from time to time. Yes?
Aelish straightens up and just takes a deep breath. And his shoulders lax. His eyes
Jack.
open.
Jack pushes the mushroom out towards Alice's face as he like inhales.
What do you think?
Smells like a very delicate honeysuckle with a damp smell of decomposition.
Aelish grabs a piece of cloth from his pouches and plucks the mushroom off. I've never seen anything like this before.
Oh, we should keep it. Maybe Cochrane is interested in them.
How far off? Were there any more?
There's 2 more, and just within sight. Here, I'll show you.
He'll wave him to
Oh, yes,
follow and
please.
trudge on over.
You're able to show them where they are.
Aelish will pluck the other 2.
Sure. Go ahead and add 3 pink mushrooms to your inventory. Very delicate smells. There's a soft, as you sort of pluck them, there's a small sort of expelling of what you gather is probably spores, as you sort of jostle them slightly with your fingers, leaving a light residue on your fingertips, but that falls off and brushes off very easily. It doesn't really stick to you.
Jack is keeping a distance and watching for that sort of thing. That's why he didn't want to get too close. He doesn't know what they are.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, it falls off. And you have them in your inventory. You said you're wrapping them up in a piece of cloth?
Yes.
Sure. Easily done. And stow them in one of your pockets or in your backpack?
I'm gonna stow them in one of my pockets.
Sure. Alright.
And
Oh,
Aelish stands, looks to Jack, walks over and pats him and goes, "Oh, hey, Jack," and walks towards the group.
They say, "Oh, hey, Jack."
Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Cochrane will be pleased. You're bringing him more than he asked for.
Do you think he'll pay us extra?
Probably.
Hellerast and Willem. The 2 of you notice a noted. I just saw the message, Willem. The 2 of you notice the light that's been filtering down through the treetops, giving a almost emerald glow to the um, forest floor here. Slightly darker. The light's fading.
Gentlemen, we need to move. The light's changing. We still haven't found the clearing with the black.
What do you mean? We've been moving all the time.
Keep moving. We do not want to be here in dark.
Alright. Gonna
Can we
pick up
make
the
up
pace.
time? Yes.
Alright.
Mushrooms are cool, but not better than your life. Let's go.
I am game to picking up the pace. Aeolus, can you go a bit faster?
I'm in. I don't see why not.
Aeolus, give me a survival check with disadvantage as you're picking up the pace. Okay. You're trailblazing and not doing as much heavy cutting, just enough that the group will be able to pass easily behind you, and enough that you're hoping you're leaving some degree of a trail for you to be able to backtrack to the point where the game trails themselves begin again on the return journey. As you proceed, you do come across a section of the wood that there's a bunch of broken undergrowth and bushes, and it takes you a moment before you realize this is your own trail. You've made it back to your own trail. You've ended up in a circle. You don't know how far back. You hope not more than a few minutes. But you've gotten twisted and turned around somehow. And the light is getting ever darker. Not all of you have dark vision, I believe.
No.
At this
Do we
point,
notice the-
everything is dim light.
What
Do
is
you
it?
notice The footprints?
You see your own footprints.
Great.
Hey, someone else has been this way.
Yes, it was us.
Yeah.
You have led us in a circle? Why did you do that?
Listen. Hellerast, can
We said
find...
Change up the pace, not lead us in a circle.
Yes, I think you misunderstood, Aeolus. We're trying to
Yeah.
get there quickly to our destination.
Hellerast is walking towards the front to talk to Aeolus.
Perhaps now would be a good time for us to set up a defensive camp. We have already wasted time circling back behind. I would be more than happy to assist.
Yes, we'll look to see if there's a place where you can dig us a hole. And I'm not being sarcastic about it either.
Yes, of course. Holes with sharpened sticks. If someone was able to sharpen the sticks, we could set up quite the defense.
I will sharpen sticks for you.
Anyone who's trying to help Willem find a spot for a camp that's clear enough, give me a perception check. And then Hellerast, you said you're going to try to help Aeolus with something?
Well, Aeolus called for me.
I can chop down some tree branches.
I would suggest that we set up camp.
I
The
think we're
other one is... I believe he's tapped out for the moment.
Well, there's no point in going onwards if you lead us in a circle. So,
Willem would suggest that we
Getting grouchy.
build a perimeter around our camp with basically a pit and sharpened sticks, and that our fire is also recessed down into the ground. The soil would then be used to make a berm around the camp.
Have you done this before? You seem to have a good understanding of setting up defensive perimeters.
Yes, of course. I was in the guard.
Willem,
But really,
Defensive
they are
training after
greenhorns, and my father described how to do more intense stuff.
as you look through the area, Willem, there's not a cleared section of land that's greater than about 3 to 4 feet from one tree to the next.
It is rather dense here, though. We might not be able to build quite a defensive area.
It is very tightly packed here.
Then I would
Very
suggest
tall
we
cedar trees.
would clear out a space for us to rest and just take watches.
Do we wish to do that here, or
How long has it been since the rock?
At this point, about 4 hours.
3 or 4 hours, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're quite a distance from it at this point.
it's no choice?
How for the trees, are they climbable? Like, are there low enough branches that could be?
There are low branches. They are quite small. You could try to climb them. These are very tall cedar trees. But you could attempt it.
Do they seem like they have branches that could hold one's weight?
Possibly. They're about the largest branches you see, at least within reach, are about 2 inches in diameter, at most. But they all have a slope down away from the trunk. None of them go upwards. So none of them would be very conducive to like setting up a hammock or anything because it could slide down unless you had a ample setup or had any pitons to hammer into the trunks of trees to help secure everything.
Are these regular cedar trees, or are they special pinwood cedar trees?
They're part of the pinwood. You suspect they
Will
are.
they have that sap?
You suspect as much.
Okay.
And this is something that we all know by now, at least, right? Having discussed it along our journey, if not known previously.
That all
right?
of the trees have this sap, and
Right.
yes.
So pitons would probably just rot out of the holes.
They would be irreparably damaged. They'd effectively become single-use items.
Got it.
Now, they wouldn't rot out of the hole in an instant, but the very use of them for anything else would constitute great risk of it failing. So they'd be wasted after single use.
Oh, who of us can see in the dark? I know you can't, Jack.
You've got me there.
So I'll take first watch since it's dark already. What about you,
Okay.
Helivrest?
So you've cleared
Hello,
out the undergrowth in an area.
I can see quite well in the dark. I would be more than happy to help.
You will take second watch then, Willem. Jack, you do start.
Will take third.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good to me, since I cannot see well in the dark.
You all lay out your sleeping bags.
Before we have everything out, Jack will, because there's trees all around us, right? Can he create
Correct, yeah.
using rope? He's got some 50-foot rope. Maybe others have some rope as well that can be tied to us if necessary. Create like a perimeter of rope that's maybe
50-foot
high enough off the
circum.
ground that it'd
Yeah.
be difficult for something to pass by without bumping it, and then from the rope he'll dangle a string with a bell on it.
Okay.
So like shifting the rope will cause it to like
Okay, so
vibrate
you're
down the rope and tinkle the bell.
got it. Okay, so you're attaching one bell to a section of it, and then you're not wrapping it around the trees. You're just letting it drape over branches, so that way tension can be transferred past the trees.
Yes.
Okay. You're able to make about a 40-foot circumference, sort of oblong, around where the group of you are sleeping, quite well, including a few sort of bent up twigs here and there upon the branches to try to keep the rope from sliding down the limbs. And it's about
All right.
2.5 feet off the ground.
You mentioned that we were given a 10 silver piece credit.
Yes.
Was that was beyond the rations, right?
That was beyond the rations for any of you who wanted to purchase supplies to have bought supplies.
Okay, because we sort of glossed over that, and I didn't normally have a bedroll. I don't know if that's typical to go in without a bedroll, but if it was just stupid obvious, then we
You
would've
would
bought
have been
one.
able to acquire a bedroll in that case then.
And what's the price of that in our? Is it the same price? just
Same price.
in
It's,
silver.
yeah, same price as it is. I think a bedroll.
Oh, 1 gold piece. So that's his 10 silver piece credit goes to that.
Gets a bedroll for you. Perfect. Are you setting a fire? Is anyone lighting a fire?
I think the idea was that we were going to basically build a 5-foot hole and have it at the bottom of the hole, so it's not as visible from outside. We can also basically kind of have it recessed over, and I can use mold earth to create a chimney that would allow the smoke to come out to the side, not quite giving away our position.
Okay. There's not a 5-foot section like of ground that's not cleared. Based on your perception check, as you try to locate a good spot to set this, you do find that setting it any deeper than about 2 feet, you are running into the roots of the trees that surround you.
If you would definitely work for the idea, so I'm content with that.
Okay, sounds good. So you intentionally set a shallower depth. How are you getting firewood?
That's somebody else's problem.
Is there loose, fallen branches dried around?
There's not. You have to cut
Then
some.
we'll just have a quiet night.
Or is there there's at least the like the branches on the cedar trees, which are fairly thin. Can they be snapped off just with hands and kind of twisted around, tore off without using anything metal?
There you go.
Ellerast is going to suggest not.
Do you attempt anyway, Jack?
Nah, he's good. He'll just once he lays down, he's going to set out. He's got a hooded lantern. He's going to have it ready with oil, and he'll have his tinderbox nearby. So if something happens, he can
Light it and see.
quickly light it. Yeah, have it all ready.
Noted. Who's taking first watch?
Me, Danon.
Okay. Then you roll out your bedroll. Looks lumpy. Must have been packed weird. No worries. You don't have to lay in it yet. And you just sit up against the side of a tree.
Yeah.
Looking out.
Axe and shield at the hand ready.
Listening. The inwood is very quiet. Give me a perception check, please. There's the only presence in your companion for the first few hours of this rest is the very distant sound of waves crashing. You gather at the bottom of the Thornridge Bluffs, the cliff line that runs along the Pinwood and guards the entire eastern coastline of Elderthorn for many leagues. It's the only sound you hear, besides the soft breathing and occasional snores of some of your impromptu companions. Before you know, your watch has ended. To whom do you go to wake up?
I think Caliris had second watch.
Okay.
Or was it Willem?
I think it was Willem.
Well, okay. So I would shake Willem up. Your turn now, Greenhorn. With a broad smile.
Okay. Willem, you awoken by this. Dunning, you go to lay down.
Yeah,
And
don
rest.
off the armor and but sleep with axe and shield at the ready, so grabs it very quickly. Yeah.
All right. Willem, do you put your armor back on for watch?
I would.
Okay. Dunnan, as you sort of curl in, you sort of roll a little bit in your bed, and something sharp is stabbing into the back of your form near your kidney. You freak out for a moment, thinking there's some snake or something in your bag, and you pull out a pine cone.
Ironwood. And then throw it like 2 feet away from me.
It clatters against the tree for a moment. Willem, you hear the clattering of wood on wood. Gives you a start for a moment, and you finish donning your armor. Dunnan, you find a rest. Willem, I'd like a perception check from you, please.
And you have dark vision out to 120, by the way.
I'm aware.
All right. You know everything. I apologize.
All right. 15. Your watch is cold. The lack of good firewood and the still lingering dregs of winter are wearing on you. About an hour and a half, close to 2 hours into your watch, you hear a sound that gives you a little bit of a start for a moment, but based on the distance, it settles your mind. You hear the mournful howl of a wolf. In the direction you vaguely believe to be north, maybe northeast slightly. You grip your gear tighter, your knuckles growing white, before you hear another one. Sounds a little bit further east. Maybe further away. Your watch ends. To whom do you wake for the final rest?
I thought it was.
I tell her ass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hillerast hasn't really slept much all night,
Okay.
so she's already ready to go.
Okay. Did you take off your armor while you were resting, or no?
No.
No? Okay. You wake. Get up. And as Willem lays back down, so that just prop yourself against a tree. You hear Willem starting to snore again. After about 20 minutes, not very long at all, you hear the ting 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 of a very soft bell. Ding, 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 ding. Coming from your 4 o'clock, far side of the tree from you. What do you do?
I'll stand up very, very slowly. It's to my 4 o'clock. Is it around this?
Around the tree. Your back is to the tree, and the tree is at your 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So it's off to your right hand side. You'd have to turn around the tree to be able to get an eyeball on where the sound's coming from.
As quietly as possible, and look to see what's going on. Do I roll a perception check or?
No perception check needed. As you carefully
Look
sort
right.
of sidle sideways just enough to be able to get an eye past the tree to see the string that Jack had tied the bell to. There's the string dangling there from the rope. The bell's gone though. And then off to your now left, which would have been like 3 o'clock or maybe 2 o'clock of like your original position. So it's moving counterclockwise or past you. You hear more faint ding 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 before it fades from earshot.
I'm gonna kick who's nearest to me.
Roll a d4 for me. That'd be Dunnan.
Dunnan. Okay, good. He's got dark vision. I'm just gonna dig my foot under him and get him to wake up.
Dunnan, you're woken quite abruptly.
I'm gonna keep my
What?
hand over his mouth. Shh. The bells are ringing. Jack's bells.
And I'll-
Something's ringing our bells. Shh.
I look to the direction she's pointing.
See nothing. See trees, darkness. You see the rope where Jack had set up this sort of perimeter, and the single string he had attached with the little bell at the base of it, hanging down. That string is now very faintly blowing in an almost imperceptible breeze, but the bell is gone.
I'll look Hellrest in the eye and nod and reach for my axe and grip
No.
it tightly.
First one that was missing, 1, second one, 2, and indicate that it seems to be going counterclockwise.
You no longer hear it, though, also.
Right. I've taken my hand off your mouth.
Stand up and take a good look at the surroundings and most likely listen for any sound.
You stay put where you are, or do you walk towards the perimeter?
No, I'm just standing where I was
Okay.
with axe at the ready.
Is going to start going clockwise around the perimeter and wake Willem up the same way. Everybody with dark vision is waking up right now, apparently.
He wakes up making the noise of a murloc.
Willem, you're woken up. You feel like you've barely gotten to lay down at all. That's the rest of the people with dark vision.
So I'll have him go towards 12 o'clock, giving him the same story that I gave Dunnan, and we'll all pretty much be facing outwards, watching the ropes from closer to the center of the group, of the area. but watching.
How long do you hold this position?
I think
What
a
time is
minute.
it now?
Maybe 3 hours from dawn.
3 hours from dawn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
That
suggest
said,
that
you
we just
would suspect that it takes a while for true daylight to get into the pinwoods. Probably 4 hours from decent light in the pinwood.
Well, I'm on watch. I'm going to suggest that maybe we sit back to back and try to keep our eyes open. And we're just going to stay there till it's light.
Well, I'm done. Do you acquiesce?
No, Danon wouldn't have had a long rest then, so.
Maybe you can doze, but just be careful.
Well, I got another idea for you. I'm gonna wake up Jack or Elos, because they have slept the most. And if you see something, you wake me up again.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So, who do you wake up, Dun?
I'll probably wake up Jack.
Okay. Jack, you're woken up. You told the same story of the bell.
Is it morning or... They took my
No.
bell.
Yes, something's around us.
That bell costs like 10 silver.
Oh, somebody else has your 10 silver now. Or something.
Alright. He'll get up. Is it like pure darkness right now?
It utter and complete to you. Yes. You
Alright.
feeling around at this point.
So you know, he says, I'm talking, facing a bit off to Durnan's right. You know, like he's talking to someone right behind Durnan because he can't see him.
Dunnan,
Yeah.
not Durnan.
Sorry, Dunnan.
Blame Marcus for that one.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
To
You're
Durnan.
welcome.
He'll say, so you know I'm not going to be much use unless you want me to just listen. I need light.
Are you a greenhorn too? This work fine, and I clap him on the ears. You can listen.
Listen.
Helivrest will look.
Okay. Well, fine. I will sit here in the dark, see nothing, and just listening to the silence.
Exactly.
Definitely not falling asleep.
No, that is my part. Your part
Yes.
is listening.
Yes, I will definitely be listening, sitting here in the darkness and not falling asleep.
Okay.
Eldorath, he says as
That's
he
the spirit.
gropes awkwardly at Halrath's face. Oh, there you are. I will sit back to back with you. I'll have my lamp right here. If you see something, give me a nudge at the elbow. If I see something, I give you a nudge, or hear something, I give you a nudge.
It's what we've got. We'll work with it.
Willem, do you join them in keeping the watch?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Though I'd probably try to hide myself up a tree. I would probably be more comfortable up above than the majority of the party.
You gonna try to climb a tree? Sure. Give me an athletics check, please.
No acrobatics?
No.
You're
That's
cruel,
an order.
cruel DM.
You're fine. You get about 10 feet up, before you're fairly positive the way the branches are swaying as you try to continue to pull yourself upwards. You're a little bit apprehensive. Do you continue to try to go higher and risk the branches breaking, or do you stay at 10 feet?
I'd be at 10 feet.
Okay.
It would give me a different advantage than everybody else, if nothing else.
Sure. The
Hellerast.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say, Hellerast feels a nudge of elbow.
Yeah, that something's in the trees.
That's Willem. He's trying to get a better view.
He's in the trees?
In the trees.
Well, I hope he does not fall out.
I think he's small, remember? And fast.
You hear a whisper from up top, and wiry.
that Willem? Willem, shh. Trying to listen.
The next 2 hours pass in this way.
Whatever's watching us is very entertained.
When was the last time you showered the hell? When was the last time you had a bath, Hellerast?
Do any of the three of you that are keeping this watch doze off, despite your attempts to stay awake, or do you keep yourself up?
Depends on if Jack can keep some conversation going. If it's like pure dark and just listening, tries he might doze off.
Ellerast won't fall asleep.
Okay.
She knows too many things that can happen in this wood and is very wired.
Yeah.
Let's call it
Willem
like
is also decently disciplined.
let's call it like a con save or check or something. That work?
Yeah, sure. Make a wisdom check.
Okay, because I imagine it's harder when it's like pure black and you're just trying to stay awake by listening, rather than being able to scan around and keep awake by looking at things.
By a long shot. Yeah, make a wisdom check to sort of as keeping that focus. Pretty good.
There we go.
Good.
So if you choose to, you can maintain that focus long enough to stay up.
He will do so.
4 hours pass in this manner. At which point, Aeolus, you start stirring, and you come to consciousness as the pinwood is finally beginning to lighten. It is still dim light, pardon me, and it might be for a while more, but morning has come. Not all of you have gotten rest. After completing the long rest, Jack, you've slept for 4 hours. I need a Constitution saving throw from you, please. You're fine. Helleras, you've slept for 4 hours. I need a Constitution saving throw from you, please. You're fine. Willem, you've slept for 2 hours because you had second watch, and then you were kept awake into your third and what would have been fourth watch. You gain a level of exhaustion.
Thank you.
You don't even get the save. Sorry.
Yeah, it happens.
Dunnan, you took your watch and then you went back to sleep. You're fine, other than a few... It's like there might have been pin needles in your... pine needles in your sleeping bag as well that you had not noticed. So, you awake itchy.
Been some heavily grumbling in my stomach the whole night.
And Aeolus, you come to consciousness quite comfortably until you see the rest of your companions.
The fuck happened to you guys?
Someone stole my bell.
Probably the kami.
Take a look over at where the string was attached to the bell, and taking a glance, there is a few small tracks actually near the bell, set onto the ground in the damp earth. There is 3 little divots that looks like something that has 3 legs, not more than maybe an inch in diameter each, was standing here and then scurried off, and you lose the trail after about a dozen feet.
Well, it seems like a 3-legged squirrel stole your bell.
It was probably one of the forest spirits.
For
You believe
spirits?
in that? Now, even I agree with Dunnan on this one. That's surely just tall tales.
When you live on the edge of the Pinwood, and you come from where I came from,
Yeah.
you believe in quite a bit. Just be thankful they took your bell and not anything else. Have
No.
all of you been up all night?
Is that like it?
No, I slept pretty comfortably.
I
I
do
was
not remember what sleep feels like.
But you look like hell, Willem.
Okay. For future reference, I am able to take watch during the night.
You can see in the dark as well.
I can.
You could
Jack
have
like
said so.
raises hands like Tron down his sides.
I'm the only one. Great.
And
I may look human, but I'm not.
we'll
I'm
pick up
pretty
here next
sure-
session.
I'm pretty sure Jack at the Blackburn Watch they can learn. You can learn how to see in the dark. I'm pretty sure they have some ways.
I'm pretty sure that is not how that works.
Yeah. You hold them in such high regard.
Yeah, we'll
We
Eh?
have
we'll pick up here
Hey.
next session as you guys finish your rest and are trying to find the clearing of black moss.
Helleras is going to suggest that we head back towards the ocean and see if we can pick up a fresh trail. Since that's what our cousin said to do.
Sounds good. We'll start there next week.